I think that this evidence pair is a little bit easier than the other evidence pair that we saw earlier in this passage. So we're still going to use the same kind of idea, though, is we're going to follow the QLC method, and we're going to make sure that we have a clear sense of our purpose. The question is giving us instructions. We need to make sure we know what those instructions are so we can follow them. Otherwise, we're just going to be reading kind of lines, and it's not going to be making any sense to us, right? We don't want to read things and try to summarize them. We want to read it and see, do they match with what we need, right? So here's the two things that I pick out of this sentence, right? Based on passage 2, Lincoln would most likely agree. So Lincoln is going to agree, so this has got to be Lincoln's view with which claim about the controversy over slavery. So something about slavery, and Lincoln agrees with it. Cool, all right. Now we go to those line references and we see, do they match with what we need, right? Do they talk about Lincoln's point of view, and do they talk about slavery? So 56 to 61, first bit there. 56 to 61. It starts with this and goes to here. I agree to all of that. Wow, that's convenient. Okay, let's keep going. I don't know what that is. We'll hold off on that for a second. Have these very matters ever produced any difficulty among us? Not at all. Have we ever had any quarrel over the fact that they have laws in Louisiana designed to regulate the commerce that springs from the production of sugar? Okay, so big gap in these lines is I need to know, what is that referring to? I do not know what these lines are talking about. Maybe that is slavery. But so far, those lines do not talk about slavery. So let's back up a little bit, see what he's talking about here. Let me say a word in regard to that matter. He tries to persuade us that there must be variety in the different institutions of the states in the Union, and that variety necessarily proceeds from the variety of soil, climate, of the face of the country, and the difference in the natural features of the states. Nothing about slavery. So there's a trap here, big trap, is that this line reference starts with, I agree to all that, which is pretty much a direct quote of what we need based on what the question is asking here, with something Lincoln agrees with. But don't fall for it, right? There's two things in this question that we need to find. He needs to agree to something, and it needs to be about slavery. And there's nothing about slavery in these lines or in the lines that come before it. This is obviously wrong to me. If we do our work here, this is an easy choice to cross out, even though they're really trying to trap us here. Let's look at the next, 64 to 66. 64 to 66. They don't make the house a house divided against itself. They are the props that hold up the house and sustain the union. Again, let's figure out what they are. And we can go back. Talking about flour, the differences between the states. Again, nothing about slavery. So it's probably what Lincoln agrees with, because he's kind of, saying his own words to himself, right? House divided. But yeah, there's nothing here about slavery, so that can't be right. That's a big part of this question. 74 to 76 hopefully has something of use. Okay. C. Whenever it has been limited to its present bounds and there has been no effort to spread it, there has been peace. Well, once again, I've got a big gaping hole in these lines. What does it refer to? So I got to know. It, if we go back, spreading it to a new territory, the slavery question. Okay, so right now, I don't need to understand those lines more than just knowing that it's about slavery and it's about Lincoln's point of view, because he's kind of stating it. So it checks off both my boxes. Let's look at D and see if that also checks off those two goals here, 83 to 86. 83 to 86, D. Do you think that the nature of man will be changed, that the same causes that produced agitation at one time will not have the same effect at another? Well, it's a little harder to say that Lincoln agrees with this, because he's not really saying anything at all. He's asking questions, so that's not great. And it doesn't really seem to be talking about slavery. Again, maybe they're talking about spreading it, so maybe this is slavery related. To me, it's got one check. I like C better. It seems to be more directly relating to my question, but D is close enough, and honestly, at this point, I don't know. Maybe C is a trap, and D is the right answer. I didn't really study either line reference enough to know whether they're a perfect fit. But that's okay because I don't know what I'm trying to fit the line reference with, right? So now I need to go to the answer choices in number 36 and see what is going on here. I need the line reference to match the choice and both of them to also answer the question. All three things need to align themselves here. So let's go to number 36. Let's go to those choices and see what we've got. So choice A. It can be ended only if northern states act unilaterally to abolish slavery throughout the United States. Whoa, 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 whoa. Only abolish unilaterally. Lots of very strong words here. Words that need to be backed up by the passage. Now, maybe they're backed up by history. Maybe we remember that Lincoln led the North against the South, which rebelled, and ended slavery. And that sticks in our mind and makes us think that that's what he thinks right here in this moment. Well, no, he does not say that. So whether or not he thinks it is irrelevant to us because he didn't come out and say that we need to abolish slavery. He does say we need to limit its spread, right? They're talking about limiting it to its present bounds. That's not the same thing as abolishing, right? That's a big leap. So we cannot pick this answer. This is absolutely wrong here. Do not fall for this trap. B. It would abate if attempts to introduce slavery to regions where it is not practiced were abandoned. So introducing it to new regions is talking about the spread. That seems pretty good. So for now, I would just kind of move on and say, all right, that kind of matches. Let's see if anything better comes along. It has been exacerbated by the ambiguity of laws regulating the holding of slaves. Well, no, he's not really saying that. He's not saying that things aren't clear. Again, he's saying we should limit the spread. There was peace when we did that. Maybe there's something about the nature of man, but nothing about the nature of the laws. So this doesn't seem related. And D, it is fueled in part by differences in religion. No. I don't even need to read the rest. I know that that's wrong. So here we go. This is talking about something that's in line C. And so without really even bothering to understand whatever this line D meant, which I still don't really know, I know that C is right as the line reference because it does talk about the spread. It says it in a way that I understand, and so does choice B in number 36. These things all align. So notice we converged on the answers. We didn't kind of just like pick them out of a lineup. We were able to kind of narrow things down until there was really just the right answers were the only things left. These are the correct answers. This is, to me, an easy question because it's pretty textbook. This is how the strategy works. It's working perfectly here. We didn't have one right answer in number 37, but it didn't matter. We didn't understand everything that was being said in the lines, but it didn't matter. We had some clear goals. We used them to narrow it down, and eventually, boom, right answers. That's how it should feel.